Namaste, my beautiful beings of light. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeanette and I am a high vibrational being. I am a high priestess. I am connected to the Most High. I am a psychic. I am intuitive. I am an archangel. I am a alien. and yeah, I am everything that is. I've connected to my higher self and my lower self, and I do receive messages, and I am an ancient old Egyptian royalty blood, and who has reincarnated on this planet at this time. I am a galactic being. I am oh my god, there's so much to me. It's not, I said I've been here since the beginning of time, basically. So I am full of a lot of knowledge. My ancestors are waking up within me to share with the collective at this time, and it all happens little by little. It doesn't happen all at once. So I have to go through certain stages of ascension, initiations, and trust me, it's not very easy. It has been very tough, but with faith, with love, and not wanting to repeat the same behaviors all over again, I chose to give my life over to the Most High. Once I saw His light, once I released those chains off my hands, oh my God, I just said, I surrender. No more me going with my ego. It's like the ego and your higher self. It's like the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It's like we have to bring everything into balance. I didn't know that. I really had no idea. But with my awakening, I'm so thankful that this journey has taught me so much. I just want to point out for those who are doing any sorcery, any intentions on a divine being as myself, any hoodoo, voodoo, anything of that sort, any card reading that you are trying to receive or trying to book in my name, in my birth date, you will be cursed. You will have generational curses from that moment forward, from trying to tap into my energy. No more can you take it upon yourself to try to hurt, harm, and manipulate any of my energy, to use any of my energy. I do not give you that right. You will have generational curses for doing any ill intentions towards divine beings. I do not give you any right to get any reading. I do not tap into anybody's energies without anybody's permission. I don't do that. I don't. I know the laws of the universe. I know the law of my Father. I know the laws of the below as it is above. Any of you women using my name, my picture, and you are cursed. Generational curse is placed upon you for any ill intentions that you have. Any hoodoo, any voodoo, anything that you are trying to place on my platform, know that you're placing generational curse upon yourself. On my collective, they're protected. If they're doing their work, I will protect my collective. I do not protect anyone who is trying to harm and hurt anybody. For those who are new, welcome to my channel. For those who are my returning subscribers, thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. For those who are new, please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Just be aware that my email has been hacked. My phone has been hacked. My Instagram has been hacked. My Facebook has been hacked. My YouTube channel has been hacked. These people have done everything. Everything. There's not one thing that these people have not done to try to stop, try to hurt, and try to kill me. Try to hurt my family. Try to use my friends. Okay? I know who you are. I know what you're doing. And you are cursed. You have generational curses placed upon you, because you're tapping in or trying to tap in to my energy. And I don't give you that right. I am here to help the collective raise their consciousness. I am here to help the planet bring balance. I am here to lead the people out of oppressions. Try to help them free themselves from their own ways, their own mind. I am also here to spread, to inform lies that has been hidden by companies, by our governments, CIA, the music industry, the medical industry, the religion, any group that is not for the highest good. My Father will guide me to places, to books, to movies, to anything that will activate a DNA within me to seek the truth where there's hidden agendas. And many don't like it. But they can't stop me, because God is the only entity that has any power over anyone. The creator of everything. Just know that. Yeah. I did start reading from a book. Which is The Egyptian Myth by Gary J. Shaw. It's a very, very good book. It has a lot of secrets that were not told. Some of it, I could say, he probably like had to You know, you have to always be very discerning with the energy, what you're taking in. I felt a lot of it was a lot of truth to it, and I love the book. So for those who are interested, that's the name of the book. And if you try to use my book, the book that I'm putting on my channel for your platform, know that you will be cursed. Anything that I do that you are going to do moving forward, you cursing your own you cursing yourself. Because I have reached a very high level of consciousness. I am highly protected. I am a daughter of the Most High, Ra. And if you don't believe me, it is what it is. I don't look for validations in anyone. I know who I am. And I am here to help you seek your truth. So I am going to read let's see, the myth of the eye of the sun. During Ray's reign, he and his eye quarreled so much that the eye decided to leave, storming off to Libya or Nubia, depending on the variant of the myth, and attacking everyone she met along the way. Her absence, however, left Ray defenseless from his enemies, as she served as his protection and was crucial to his power. To rectify the situation, Red sent out a god to retrieve the angry eye. As ever, there are many variants of this myth, and the names of the gods involved change accordingly. One version tells that Oniris, that's with an N, not Oniris, tracked down the eye and married her afterwards. Another version presents Shu hunting for her. In the longest preserved account, however, it is thought Thoth, a god famous for his counsel and wisdom, who traveled to seek the eye. In this variant, the eye is named as Tefnut and takes the form of Nubian cat. After tracking down the eye, and in order to approach her without being recognized, Thoth transformed himself into a dog-faced baboon. But Tefnut saw through his ruse and became enraged, ready to attack the god. Thoth, thinking quickly, told her that fate punishes every crime. His wise words convinced her to halt her. Unprovoked attacked. After gaining Tefnut's attention and in the hopes of convincing her to return home, Thoth exalted the beauty of Egypt and regaled her with a series of animal fables. Sometimes placing a fable within a fable, infused with moral lessons on the importance of peace and how the strong benefits from friendship with the weak. In the process, Tefnut, angered by Thoth, attempts to influence her, transform her into a terrifying lioness, but Thoth refused to give up. He succeeded in convincing her to return to Egypt, and they were met by the borders with music and dancing. When they have traveled in Memphis, Re organized a festival in Tefnut's honor at the mansion of the Lady of Sycamore, a chapel of Hathor, and she recounted to Re the tables that Thoth had told her. The son then praised Thoth for his success. Some myths of rebellion against the sun god. A frequent theme of myths set during the reign of Re are rebellions against his rules. The location of the rebellions vary, and so do the identities of those involved. Sometimes it is humanity, and other times it is Apophis and his followers, or even Seth. Another variant is the age of the god. Sometimes he is a child, while in some myths he is elderly. In both cases, the creator is at a vulnerable stage of life, which explains why the rebellions erupt at this time. These two phases of the sun's life represent sunrise and sunset. Traditional periods of danger, or signifies his weakening over the course of the solar year until his rebirth and renewal at the new year. The rebellion in the Neith cosmogony of Esna. At the temple of Esna, a myth recounts a rebellion that occurred during the sun's god's youth. At his creation from Neith, discarded spittle, Apophis immediately conceived rebellion in his heart, and his plans for revolt were aided by his associates among mankind. And I would say Apophis is in Egyptian mythology. Apophis was a serpent and the enemy of Ra, the sun god. Every night Apophis sought to bring eternal darkness on the world before defeated by Ra at sunrise. Apophis immediately conceived rebellion in his heart, and his plans for revolt were aided by his associates among mankind. Re, learning of Apophis' plans, became bitter, and Thoth emerged from the sun's heart to debate the situation with him. Re decided to send Thoth as the Lord of Words of the god to battle Apophis, while he himself fled to safety with his mother, who had by this time manifested in the form of a celestial Ihakal, who became known as Mehet Waret, the greater swimmer. Re sat on her brow between her horns while she swam as Sais in the north. Sais in the north, where they could hide in safety. There Re's mother breastfed the young god, making him strong enough to return south to masquerade his enemies. The Book of the Fayum. This composition, first found during the Ptolemaic period, includes a number of myths from Egypt, Fayum Oasis. Among them is a tale of rebellion against Re. The sun heard that men and gods were plotting against him and went to fight them at Heracleopolis, an important city just south of the Fayum. He was victorious, but before a second battle could commence, the aged god withdrew to the town of Moris in the Fayum in order to seek refuge with his mother, the Ihetkal. Here, a personification of Lake Mars, safe, the god hid for 12 months, sucking his mother's rejuvenating milk before the two flew to the heavens. Re upon his mother's back, where he transformed into the sky. A myth of rebellions from Qumambo. The myth was Qumambo in the Upper Egypt, the locations of the temples dedicated to Sobek and Horus the Elder. Also begins with the Re's enemies plotting against him, learning of their plans. Re, along with Thoth and Horus the Elder, went in search of them, tracking their moments to Qumambo. Arriving at the city, Re settled in his place and sent Thoth to seek out and spy on his enemies. The wise god found them camped on the shore of a great lake, and from a safe distance, standing on the banks of a river, counted 257 enemies, led by 8 officers. All were standing around slandering the sun god. Thoth swiftly returned to Re to report all that he had seen. Naturally, Re became enraged and announced that he would not allow a single one of them to live. Perhaps a little too tired to engage in battle himself, or just wary of the enemy's numbers, Thoth suggested Horus the Elder in this myth as aspects of the god Shu, as a stability skilled warrior to annihilate Re's enemies. Re followed his advice and sent out Horus the Elder armed with all his weapons of war. He slaughtered with such rage and violence that his face turned crimson from the blood. The legends of the wig of the sun disk, Eduf, a particular detail of rebellion against the sun, is preserved in Ptolemaic period. That's Ptolemaic period. Inscriptions of the walls of the temples of Horus at Edfu. In the 363 year of Re's reign, the sun god and his entourage were sailing in Nubia when Horus of Betduet, the ancient name of Edfu, spotted enemies associated with the trickster god Seth, plotting against the king. In a preemptive strike, Red sent out against him Horus, who flew up into the sky as a great winged disc. He stormed against them before him, and we were told, and they neither saw with their eyes nor heard with their ears, but each one slew his fellow in the twinkling of an eye, and not a soul lived. Faced with the bloodthirsty god, the enemies had lost their senses and begun to swing their weapons around, slashing one another instead of their opponent. But Red then descended from his solar boat to view his fallen enemies who lay on the ground with broken heads. As the crew of the solar boat celebrated, more enemies arrived and launched an attack, taking the fearsome forms of crocodiles and hippopotami. In retaliation, Horus and his fellow fought them with harpoons. The enemies that survived his divine onslaught fell north, but Horus took chase and slaughtered most of their Thebes. The remaining survivors continued north, but Horus followed, sailing in the banquet of Re. So Seth roared with anger at the slaughter Horus had led, and the two began to fight. Horus threw his spear at Seth and hurled him to the ground, taking the god prisoner by binding his hands and trying to rope around his throat. Defeated and embarrassed, Seth was brought before Re in his entourage for his fate to be decided. Thoth, as an advisor of the sun god, suggested that Seth's followers be given to Isis so that she could do whatever she wished with them. Not the most forgiving of deities, Horus and Isis beheaded them all, leaving Seth no doubt aware that he was next on the hit list to transform into a snake and disappear into the ground. This real description about Seth. Seth, a god associated with violence, confused, and evil. Seth can be depicted as a creature with long snout, tail, rectangular ears, and a erect tail. In human form, he only bears the creature's head. He can, however, manifest in many other forms too, including that of a red ox, a desert oryx, a pig, or a hippopotamus. According to Pyramid Text 205, Seth tore himself from his mother Nut during birth, highlighting his violent nature from the start of his life. He was the brother of Osiris, whom he murdered to become king of Egypt, and later became embroiled in a lengthy legal battle with his nephew Horus of the throne. Various goddesses are cited as Seth's consort. Most frequently, Nephilim is said to be his wife, though Tarat, Neth, Astarti, and Anat are also mentioned. The Lord, I get hot every time oof. Hey Lord, okay, I'm sorry, okay. As Lord of the Red Land, Seth was God of the desert, yet he was also connected with storm. His voice was thunder, cloudy weather, and the sea, and could be prayed for calmer weather. He also presides over foreign countries. Though he is often presented as an enemy, Seth used his great strength to protect the sun god Re from the chaos snake Apophis during his nightly journey through the Duat. Unlike most formed iron, he could be described as the Lord of Metals. Many temples were dedicated to Seth, especially in the northeast delta, but his primary cult center was Nubit, Ambos, at the entrance of the Wadi Hamamat, a source of gold. Wow. I'm hot. Ooh, every time I channel, I get hot. Sorry. Ooh. Afterwards, Horus continued to chase the remaining enemies all the way to the Mediterranean Sea before turning his attention southward, finding and killing a final group of enemies in Nubia. I'm going to a series. This says it's a which Horus? Horus was Behet. Horus was the falcon. Horus was the elder, and Horus was the child. There is a confusing array of Horus figures in Egyptian mythology, and though often treated as separate gods with different parents, they should each be regarded as aspects of the same divinity. Horus of Behdet, from the legions of the winged sun disk, is the form of the god worshipped at the temple of Edfu in Upper Egypt, and possibly at Tel Bala Moon in the Delta. He was the husband of Hathor and father of the god Horus, uniter of the two lands, Horus Sematwe or Harsontus, and Ahi, I-H-Y. Like all forms of Horus, he typically shown as a hawk, often hovering over the pharaoh, though he could also be depicted as a lion. The wicked sun disk carved onto the temple walls across Egypt, and most often seen decorated lentils, is also an image of Horus of Behdet. That's Horus. That's the falcon. That's the Horus the falcon was cult center of Heracleopolis in the south of Egypt, was a god of kinship associated with Egypt's kings from the earliest periods. As a sky god, Horus, the falcon eyes were regarded as the sun and moon. Horus the elder, depicted as a man with a falcon head, was the son of Nut and Geb, or Hathor and Re, depending on the variant of the myth. He fathered 4 sons of Horus, with his sometime sister Isis. The early pyramid text represents Horus the elder as helping Isis and Nephthys to gather together the pieces of Osiris's body and then avenge him. Horus the child, typically shown as a child with a sidekick of youth, was the son of Isis and Osiris. He was added to the pyramid text in the 6th dynasty and absorbed into the Heliopolitan mythology. Horus continued to chase the remaining enemies all the way to the Mediterranean Sea before turning his attentions southward, finding and killing a final group of Nubia. Okay, that's where I ended. Okay. Beer saves the world. When Re reaches old age, his bones silver, his flesh gold, and his hair lapis-lazuli, mankind, as usual, plotted against him. Before they could launch their assault, however, Re discovered their nefarious plans and commanded his eye to be summoned, along with Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, and his father and mother, who was with Re, R-E, when he was in Nun, meaning the 8th primordial gods, Nun himself and Nun's courtiers. The sun god wished to consult them for advice, but wanted to ensure that mankind wouldn't suspect the thing, so they were brought to his place in secret. The gods and the courtiers during assembled in 2 rows before the sun god who was sitting upon his throne. O eldest god in whom I came into being, Nun, an ancestor god Re said, look, mankind, which issued from my eye is plotting against me. Tell me what you would do about it, for I am searching. I will not slay them until I have heard what you might say about it. Having considered the option, Nun advised Re that fear of him was greatest when his eyes was upon those who schemed against him. Re knew that the rebels had fled to the desert, their hearts fearful, that I might speak to them, and decided to follow Nun's suggestions. He sent out his eye to smite them. The eyes took the wrathful form of Hathor and immediately began to slaughter with utmost relish, first killing the enemies in the desert and then turning on everyone else. Witnessing the discriminate destructions of his creation, Re and the second thoughts have convinced himself that with some extra effort he could continue to rule mankind as king. The only problem now was Hathor, his eyes, who has rather enjoying masquerading everyone she met. If Re were to stop her, he had to devise a cunning plan. To bring to an end the violence, Re sent messengers to the Ephatine, far in the south of Egypt, with orders to bring back Red Orchard. After receiving a raw mineral, he told the high priestess of Re at Heliopolis to grind it up until it resembles human blood. He then mixed it with 7,000 jars of beer. During the night, Re sent the beer to where Hathor was in the overly violent form of Sekhmet, was resting, and had it poured into the fields in hope that when the goddess awoke she would believe herself to be surrounded by blood. But her new favorite drink, she just as planned, Hathor Sekhmet opened her eyes the next morning to the sanguine dream. She drank until drunk and quickly forgot all about her anger towards mankind. Red departure. Despite saving mankind, Red decided that he was too worried to continue ruling Egypt personally. The gods tried to dissuade him from leaving, but he was adamant, and it was time to go. My body is weak. For the first time, he told them, I won't wait until another rebellion